The Nazi regime carried out a campaign against male homosexuality between 1933 and 1945. As part of this campaign, the Nazi closed gay bars and meeting places, dissolved gay associations, and shuttered gay presses. The Nazi regime also arrested and tried tens of thousands of gay men using paragraph 175 of the German Criminal Code. Paragraph 175 was a provision of the German Criminal Code from 1871 to 1994. It made homosexual acts between males a crime. In 1935, the Nazis broadened the law so that the courts could pursue any lewd act whatsoever, even when involving no physical contact, such as masturbating next to each other. Convictions multiplied by a factor of 10 to over 8,000 per year by 1937. Furthermore, the Gestapo could transport suspected offenders to concentration camps without any legal justification at all. Thus, over 10,000 homosexual men were forced into concentration camps, where they were identified by the pink triangle. The majority of them died there. While the Nazi persecution of homosexuals is reasonably well known today, far less attention has been given to the continuation of this persecution in post-war Germany. In 1945, after the concentration camps were liberated, some homosexual prisoners were recalled to custody to serve out their 2-year sentence under paragraph 175. In 1936, SS leader and chief of the German police, Heinrich Himmler, established the Reich Office for the Combating of Homosexuality and Abortion. This office was part of the criminal police and worked closely with the Gestapo. The notoriously homophobic Himmler saw both homosexuality and abortion as threats to the German birth rate and thus to the fate of the German people. The Gestapo interrogated men caught up in the raids as well as those denounced. During these, and often physically and psychologically brutal interrogations, the police frequently insisted on full confessions. Under the pressure of harsh interrogation and torture methods, men were forced to name their sexual partners. This in turn helped the police identify other men to arrest and interrogate. In this way, the police caught entire networks of gay men. Many, but not all of these pink triangle prisoners identified as gay. The pink triangle called attention to this prisoner population as a distinct group within the concentration camp system. Pink triangle prisoners were among the most abused groups in the camps. Pink triangle prisoners were assigned the most grueling and demanding jobs in the labor camp. They were often subjected to physical and sexual abuse by camp guards and fellow inmates. In some cases, they were beaten and publicly humiliated. Some pink triangle prisoners were subject to inhumane medical experiments. Fearing guilt by association, fellow prisoners shunned pink triangle prisoners. Pink triangle prisoners were left isolated and powerless within the prisoner hierarchy. Prisoner networks provided tools of survival, such as access to food and clothing for many camp inmates. Typically isolated, these prisoners made their survival much more difficult. An unknown number of pink triangle prisoners died in the concentration camps. Gay men could be imprisoned and persecuted in concentration camps for reasons other than their sexuality. Some gay men were sent to camps as political opponents, Jews, or as members of other prisoner categories. In these cases, their sexuality was generally secondary to the reason for their imprisonment. They wore the badge that corresponded to their official prisoner category. An unknown number of gay Jewish men were murdered in the Holocaust. In spring 1945, Allied soldiers liberated concentration camps and freed prisoners. But the end of the war and the defeat of the Nazi regime did not necessarily bring a sense of liberation for gay men. They remained marginalized in German society. Most notably, sexual relations between men remained illegal in Germany throughout much of the 20th century. This meant that many men serving sentences for allegedly violating paragraph 175, remained in prison after the war. Tens of thousands more were convicted in the post-war era.